Hi there, my name's Chris Sutton and I'm a tattoo artist at Flaming Art Tattoo just south of London. I've been tattooing now for just over 3 years. I think a love of art's always been there from a very young age anyway. I guess it starts like most kids' love of anything starts. So I was into comics, cartoons, the Disney films, that sort of thing. I think the moment that really hit it off is when I started buying the comics and you were looking through them and looking at the artwork and really thinking like that you wanted to be able to do the sort of stuff that those people do. I think there's quite a few things that inspire the artwork that I do. The main things, I suppose, are film, TV, video games have a really big thing to do with it, but it can be anything as well. I mean, you can just be walking down the street and you can see stuff and it gives you ideas. It might not necessarily mean anything at the time, but it stays up in there. Before being a tattoo artist, I was a freelance artist and designer for about 5 years, and I was doing band t-shirts, small record label kind of work, CD covers, that sort of thing. It was fantastic work. I worked with some really good people and did some cool stuff, but the work is just so inconsistent. There's no way to make a living until you kind of built up a portfolio. I worked pretty hard at that for a few years and was being tattooed in the shop at the same time. I was lucky enough to be taken on by the boss as an apprentice. There's so many similarities between tattooing and traditional artwork, differences as well, but the trouble is I don't think they're so mutually exclusive. At the end of the day, tattooing now more than ever as well is becoming just an art form. It's a different medium, it's a different way of getting your artwork out there or producing artwork, and the only difference is you're using needles, pigments and people's bodies as opposed to oil paints and canvas. I think the feeling that I used to get when I originally knew, when I first started tattooing, that somebody was going to be walking out the door with my artwork on them for the rest of their life was absolutely terrifying. And you sit there for a little while and you think, do I really want to be doing this to somebody? But the more time goes on, it gets cooler and cooler. It's a really cool feeling. To be honest with you, sometimes, even today, it's still a scary thought. When you actually stop and think about it, we don't really get a chance to think about it that much anymore. It's so nice to be able to walk down the street and you can bump into somebody that you admittedly can't remember their face or name or something like that. You remember the tattoo and you instantly remember what that person was like, and they're still so appreciative, they're still so happy with what they've got. I think nowadays doing any other job would be impossible. I mean, don't get me wrong, this job's hard work. It's not an easy job by any stretch, but it's very nice being able to take things in your own stride. You have complete control about how you do things, and I think that's one of the nicest things about this job. From start to finish on a tattoo, there's some ridiculous hours, but the hours that you do are all fun. There's never a bad day. Even the bad days are probably still a hell of a lot better than most people's average days, and I'm quite lucky to be in that sort of position, I think, and I'd never take my job or where I am for granted at all. I think my future goals are probably pretty similar to any other artist. My boss, who, believe it or not, is quite a wise man. He'll kill me for saying that, but he is a wise man. He always says that you're only as good as your last tattoo, and it couldn't be any more true than that. I think the important thing to know is that there's always somebody out there that's better than you. You'll never be at the top. You can always strive to be at the top, but there's always somebody out there that's going to be doing something better. And so long as you know that, that should be your main motivator. There's no harm in trying to better yourself every single day, and hopefully that's what I'm doing. And I'll just keep trying to step my game up throughout my life.